safe during this COVID period. I am filming this opening and closing in a socially distanced way. Today, I'm going to be showing you how to make cinnamon buns. I have been making cinnamon buns for years and really love making them, but I've always been a little bit unsatisfied with my recipe. I love Cinnabon, and I feel like every time I make cinnamon buns, I'm always chasing the taste of that recipe. The gooey top and the gooey bottom, the cream cheese frosting, the super soft dough, that's always been things that I've not been able to achieve with my previous recipe. So for this recipe, what I've done is basically taken the best of about 5 different recipes of cinnamon buns, sticky buns, and I've combined them together. I call this Barb's Ultimate Cinnamon Bun. Here's the deal, everybody. I'm not gonna lie. This recipe has a lot of steps, and including the rising time, does take a few hours to execute. But the real investment is just gonna be your time. It's not gonna be your skill. And by the time you are done this, you are gonna be so satisfied with yourself, and the recipe is so good, it's worth it. Now let's get started. Okay everyone, this is everything you're gonna need for the dough. This is what you're gonna need for your milk flour mixture, and then the rest is what you're gonna use for the dough mixture. Add the dry ingredients to the bowl that you'll be using to mix the dough. Flour, sugar, and salt. We're gonna mix that together so it's well incorporated and placed to the side. Next, it's time to activate our yeast. Yeast loves and thrives in a warm, sugary environment. So I always add a dash of honey or sugar whenever I'm proofing my yeast. Next up, we're gonna make a milk flour mixture that is going to help make sure our dough is really nice and fluffy. We're gonna add milk, water, and flour. We're gonna keep stirring constantly for 1 to 2 minutes. You know it's done when it looks like mashed potatoes. And we're good. Take a look. Okay, we are ready to assemble the dough. Using a dough hook attachment on your stand mixer, you're gonna take your bloomed yeast. I'm gonna add this to our flour, as well as our water. And we're gonna turn it on medium low for about 5 to 7 minutes until it comes together as a dough. We're now gonna add the butter. We're gonna add 1 tablespoon at a time, let it fully incorporate, and then add another tablespoon. Okay, our dough has been kneading in the stand mixer for 5 to 8 minutes, and this is what it looks like. You can see it's super soft, super pliable, fit from the bottom, and this is what our dough looks like. So what I like to do at this point is to shape into a ball by just tucking it under itself, and then we're gonna put into a greased bowl, and we're gonna cover it with some plastic wrap and put into a warm place for an hour and a half. Okay, so while our dough is rising, we still have a few things that we can do. So these are all the ingredients that you're gonna need to make your cinnamon bun super yummy, super gooey, and have a super awesome topping. So this is what you're gonna need for the glaze on top. This is what you're gonna need for the filling inside. And then this is what you're gonna need for the glaze at the bottom. We want our cinnamon buns to be really gooey, which is why we want to have some sweet yumminess on the bottom, the middle, and at the top. All right, so we're gonna start with the glaze at the bottom. Moving on to the glaze on top. If you're using a stand mixer, you can either use the paddle attachment or the whisk attachment. Otherwise, you can do this either by hand. It's just gonna take a little bit more elbow grease, or you could do this with a hand mixer. One thing to note is you wanna make sure your cream cheese is fully softened before you mix into the rest of your mixture. As you can see here, I did not wait, and as a result, my cream cheese is a little bit lumpy. So no worries about that. We're just gonna let it sit out for a little bit to soften, and then we'll remix it. All right, let's check it out. The fruits of our labor. Our dough has risen, double in size, and we're gonna get ready to roll them out and fill the buns and put them in the pan. Okay, so we can take our saran off. But let's keep it to the side because we're gonna need it again. And we're gonna punch the dough down and put it down on a floured surface. And then we're gonna roll out the dough until it's 20 inches in length. Our ultimate shape we want is a rectangle, so it's best to start by pulling the dough into the size that we want. Don't feel pressured to work towards a specific size. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's just generally so you can yield the most amount of buns per dough. If you want to try for more buns, go ahead. I think it's great to be ambitious with this. I sort of let 20 inches be a guiding principle for me, but if I am able to roll out the dough a little bit longer so I can get more rolls, then I do that as well. The other thing I try to do is to make sure that the dough itself is about 1/4 inch thick. Quick measure. This is way longer than 20, it's 24.5, no problem. Next thing we want to do is add our filling. We're then going to mix our filling. I have brown sugar, cinnamon, this is nutmeg, and this is ground ginger. Okay, now it's time to roll. So we're gonna basically start from one end and roll a bit, and move to the other end and roll a bit to try and get the whole thing moving. Keep going back and forth, rolling as tightly as you can, and then use your fingers once you have enough to guide. There we go. I love to make these buns to give away to people, and these disposable baking loaves perfectly fits 3 oversized buns. So I've distributed the glaze for the bottom within the different pans. And I'm now going to put 3 buns per pan into each pan. Okay, let's take a look at this together. Oh yeah, looking good. Looking good. Want to make sure it's cooked throughout. I actually think it could go for a minute or 2 more just to brown it a bit more. So now we're gonna put our icing on. I like to keep some to the side to use when I'm actually serving.
Thanks for watching. I hope you're encouraged to try this yourself. So many people are cooking and baking right now. This is the perfect recipe for when you need to stay in, like now.